Hello everyone, welcome to the Blackwarian Sheep, a channel where we come together for black sheep purposes, all in divine alignment, of course. Today I have a tarot message that is not the first one I've recorded, but it will be the first one I post on this channel, and it's been quite a journey to even get to this starting point, and I think that's the theme that I'm being called to share, because as I wanted to begin a channel where I could share tarot messages, I had to face a lot of things in myself, fears, doubts, only to realize that I was overthinking and avoiding and procrastinating, and ultimately I was afraid to share my voice more than anything. And there's been some recent events in my life that have really required me to speak up, and so it's kind of made me understand that there's really no perfect time or perfect way. We can only do our best, but anyway. So I realized that I had to stop overthinking, take some action, and basically share what I'm going through. So now to start the message, the first card I pulled, I got 3 cards. I decided to do something simple, and I think most of the messages will be around 3 to 7 cards. For the most part, if I'm called to do anything longer, we'll see how that goes. Tarot is not going to be the only thing I post on this channel, but this is what we're starting off with. So the first card I got is a Chariot, which is related in the zodiac to the sign of Cancer. I have started studying Vedic astrology, and so I try to make these connections. I'm still a student. I think good students make the best teachers, because the best teachers are eternal students themselves. So Cancer is about nurture. It's about emotional balance and emotional labor, and where that can really carry you. So I'm using the Lunasomnia Tarot deck, which was gifted to me by a very good friend. The original Chariot card has a black sphinx and a white sphinx that are guiding the chariot. And the black and white obviously represents your own black and white energies, or your masculine and feminine energies. And so the balance of those things is what you need as a foundation to move you forward. Because if you don't feel stable within yourself, you can't really build up from there. And it's really interesting that this card, as the first card being in the sign of Cancer, we just had a new moon in Capricorn, and so all these themes of nurture, mothering, what feeds our soul, and how ultimately to take care of ourselves in the best way possible so that we don't feel left out in the cold, because that's what Capricorn's theme is that he's learned to be disciplined and to build proper structures so that he's not left out in the cold. And this discipline is also what is represented in the Chariot card with the armor, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And this theme of being left out in the cold actually brings me to the next card, which is the 5 of Pentacles. In the original card, it's a lady, I believe, and a little boy that are left out in the cold, literally, out of the church. They don't have resources, they don't have connections. It's very quite sad and scarce, the feeling that card represents. And so in this Luna Somnia tarot deck, the image that I have, and I'll post a picture of the cards anyway, but there's a hand and it's just wide open. There's an eye in the center and there's 5 pentacles, one above each finger. And the way I see it is like there's resources, but they're out of your reach. And you can only really just observe that the resources are there and that you can't actually reach them. And so it's really quite a desperate feeling to be caught there. And the thing is that that energy must be transcended, obviously, to have a new beginning, to be able to feel better, to feel nourishment, growth, to just feel taken in and taken care of. That's what allows us to have a new and better feeling, which is the third card, the Ace of Cups. We can't really have this new beginning, this new feeling, this new exploration without the discipline that it takes to emotionally regulate ourselves. And that has been quite the theme in my life. Actually, in Vedic astrology, I'm a Cancer moon. So it's been quite the ride emotionally. And I'm still in my late 20s. But I do feel better than ever emotionally, although I'm still closing out some cycles that are quite difficult, that have been quite difficult, but they no longer are because I finally chose to do something about it. I stopped delegating my emotional responsibility. But I think, honestly, a really big part of that process has been, which is a very Cancer thing to do, to take on other people's emotions. And so I think it's been really a lesson to allow myself to feel the tumultuousness of all my emotions, whether they're positive or negative, without being good or bad. But more so just referring to the vibration. I think more than just allowing myself to feel everything, another really hard aspect of this process was not taking on other people's emotions and letting them feel it without me doing anything about it. That really took me out, because I was really used to carrying other people's shit. And that's just not how it works. You can't actually, on Chariot card, it is only the one person in the chariot. And he's leaving the city behind. I believe also that means leaving safety. And right, because Cancer, the whole thing about how you have to leave your mom, whether you're a man or a woman, boy or girl, or anything that you identify as. The point is that you need to know how to leave the arms of your mother and feel safe, feel competent, and sure enough that you can build your own structure, your own fortitude, your own protection, and that you won't leave yourself out on the cold without realizing it, because wow, have I done that. I didn't realize I put myself last so much until this last year. I really had to take a look at that, which the Vedic astrology thing really helped to look in there and see why some things had happened the way they were, the way that I created some situations in my life. I'm just going to throw this out there as a disclaimer about astrology, because I was nervous enough to put myself out there in terms of this type of practice because it's helped me, and I certainly think it can help other people. But everyone really needs to use their own discernment and connect to their own intuition, because external things should be confirmation to things that you already believe in yourself. Now, we have imperfect humans tend to have limiting beliefs a lot of the time, and we work through that. And tarot and astrology and other spiritual sciences are really just a tool. The power really is within yourself. And so I just want to put that out there for anyone listening to this and who is wondering also where my spiritual core and foundation is. It really is just within myself. I am interested in deity work. I'm interested in many, many things. But I am a bit of a melting pot. I like to do a little bit of everything. I understand the importance of mastering a path, a craft, of refining a talent. And so I do try to narrow it down so that I can focus better. But I do feel quite open in my energy and in the way that I practice. And so all these things have really just been a tool for me. I recommend them as tools. And I recommend that ultimately you connect to your intuition more than anything. So with that, I hope this helps. Thank you so very much for listening, and I will see you next time.